This is the Work Smart Hypnosis Podcast, session number 398. Ignacio Segovia on work-life balance.
Welcome to the Work Smart Hypnosis Podcast with Jason Linett, your professional resource for hypnosis training and outstanding business success. Here's your host, Jason Linett.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy day after World Hypnotism Day. And I cannot think of a better way to kick off the first episode of 2023 than with this conversation with someone who I've considered a great friend for now a bunch of years. And you'll hear the story inside of this conversation as at the time, Ignacio traveled from Florida up to Virginia to a training that actually at the time I was hosting with James Hazelrig, who's been on this program several times too. And then I figured because he was so cool, I might as well move down to Florida as well. Not entirely the whole story, but let's go with that at least for this introduction, that it's from the background of studying engineering to then researching and looking into psychology to then discovering hypnosis and seeing a pathway to help the clients that he wanted to help in an extremely direct way. And I'll tell you why I just absolutely love the conversation that you're about to listen to. It's that, first of all, it's a very clear difference when you hear someone lecturing or talking about a subject when they've kind of just created it for the sake of publishing something and, building a name for themselves versus what you're clearly going to hear in this conversation with Ignacio around really just pouring life into a passion to figure something out, systematize a process, run a bunch of people through it, and only then, once actually being satisfied with the system of it, going, we got to publish this for other people to check out. So yes, we are releasing this episode right around the time that his book officially got released, and you'll find the links and the details, everything over in the show notes over at worksmarthypnosis.com to follow Ignacio on social media, to check out his websites, his book, and continue the conversation if you so see it fit. This whole work-life balance conversation, he calls out what I feel is one of the biggest things that people are missing on this topic, which is these are ideas that were created at a time where the world was a different place. And we can run into this conflict, we can run into this challenge when we're holding on to an old set of belief systems, and yet the world has now rapidly shifted and morphed into something else. So we could step off to the side and go, oh, that doesn't work anymore. Or we can listen to someone like Ignacio who has built a system around it to go, well, if you're not activating these habits the way that you want, it usually means there's something else that needs to be addressed. And listen for this roadmap. Check out his book. You are in for a treat with a phenomenal conversation. I've said it for years. There's no such thing as finding the time. There is only making the time, and make it a time right now to listen to this eye-opening conversation to help make 2023 a phenomenal year. Check out the links and show notes over at worksmarthypnosis.com. And while you're there, also head over to hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. There's no need to have to reinvent the wheel when it comes time to grow a thriving hypnotic business that can successfully help clients no matter the global economy. When you really look at it from a true perspective, what we are doing is helping people to solve their problems. Yes, as the world economy changes at certain times, certain categories may not be as active as others, yet it's that ability to look at it from this ethical perspective as to what are people trying to solve the problem of? And the story of Hypnotic Business Systems is that it originally was a live event that I then filmed and turned into an online product, which then became an online community. And over the years, and we're also coming up on about 9 years that I've been running this program, would be the fact that it used to be tell you what to do, then it became show you how to do it, because sometimes there are technical considerations in the running of your hypnotic practice. And then thanks to the fact that, because I wanted to hang out with cool people like Ignacio, I moved from Virginia down to Florida, closed down the Virginia hypnosis business. And because of that, I pulled the best performing marketing strategies of a business that sold more than $1 million of individual client income over the years and gave them away inside of the Hypnotic Business Systems program. So, yes, there's some tell you what to do. There's also show you what to do. And there's also a fair amount of here's mine, use this, which you can then use perfectly as it is. Or I also teach and modify how to then make it your own. It's more than 24 individual business action plans. If you go over to hypnoticbusinesssystems.com, all I'll say is take a look at that page. It's like 95% client wins. It's not fancy sales copy and persuasive language. No, it's other people just like you telling their success stories. There's no reason to have to struggle. Use what works. Guessing sucks. Check it out, hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. And here we go. Happy New Year. No better way to kick it off than with this week's episode, session number 398, Ignacio Segovia on work-life balance.
Well, I study system engineer, and I stopped doing it to move to psychology because I want to know how to program people, how to move these words from the computer area, this expression, if this happened, then happen. And I try to find that in psychology. I try to find that in many areas. And guess what? The only area that got me that response, if this happened, then was hypnosis.
How so? What about hypnosis made that stand out to you?
It was the training. When I did the training with you, that phrase, if this happened then, it was like magic stuff for me. I wanted to do hypnosis many years before that. I studied psychology, and when I specialized in psychoanalysis, and when you study Freud, Lacan, Jung, all those guys pass in some way, they touch hypnosis. And I wanted to study. I had an hypnosis school close to my house in Toronto when I lived and that never happened. After that, I moved to St. Catharines, and I had a relationship there with Danny C. He's an hypnotist for casinos there in Niagara Falls. And I insisted him to teach me hypnosis. And he say, I cannot teach you hypnosis because English is not your first language. So you cannot learn from me, from all these things that I need to teach you. I say, wow, no, it's not possible. And when I moved to Florida, I started working with a lady here that she did the virtual gastric band.
Yeah.
And I started seeking for trainings on that, and I found your training on the virtual gastric band. I say, wow, I need to do this. And everything else is history, man. After that training with you, I started training with Richard Nongar. I started looking more and more in this wonderful world, and I grow very fast on this area. That in the past I use it as a therapy. Nowadays I'm working as hypno coach. I like more the tendency of call myself a coach and an hypnotist than go into the therapy area. And that's the reason why I wrote this book, Work-Life Balance Doesn't Work, to move people beyond that situation of sickness or that situation of mental health difficulties to a positive area, where is the area of positive psychology nowadays.
What I really appreciate what you've said there is again, back to this engineering mindset, this, programming mindset, as I would look at it, of if this thing happens, then that thing happens, which is, you've heard this before, is kind of my lecture on how every hypnotic technique comes back to the same core formulas. When this thing happens, that thing happens. It's a pace followed by a lead. It's a cause followed by an effect. And you hit on something there about how, life events and what often occurs. So, how does that tend to play into it? Is it the event or is it the response to the event?
I wanted to find proper responses to events, those responses that guide people to a life well lived. When I was in my program as an engineer, I studied the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey, and that invitation to be better, to have a full happiness, a full life that you can share with others in a way that you feel fulfilling your purpose. That called me in a way that first I thought, well, let's create habits, and those habits will bring people to do things. That was the first clue. Okay, let's create habits. Okay, but people not only build things on habits, people have emotions, and those emotions move people away those habits. I need to know more about the emotions and how emotions move people to do things. And hypnosis got me that response. When you go into hypnosis, when you go into trance, and when you use metaphors with your clients, you create emotions on people. Those emotional states are the ones that guide people to do things. And after that is when you have the habits, and that is when the habits create your beautiful life. But the root on that is emotional state, that unconscious mind that works with those emotions to align the way that we act in the world. And when we act into the world, we can create those habits. And that passion me, because I can see those changes on my clients when they come to my share. They change their emotions, they change the actions, and those actions create their life. Because people believe happiness in life is being in a beach on Mexico with margaritas. It's not like that, man. It's a nice moment, it's a cool moment, and more for people like you and me that live in Florida. We live a life close to that, but that is not happiness in life. Happiness in life is more about how you do small things every day, how you interact with your child, how you interact with your wife, how you interact with your clients. And those good things during the day, when you put it together, you see your life and you see, wow, what amazing life I have, because all these moments bring joy to me and to the people that I have around me. And those things are the ones that we are changing as hypnotists. And I'm very proud to be part of this community that we are doing this.
I love that, because it's where, from the outside perspective, it's what often happens when someone just tries to hit someone up with advice of like, oh yeah, just do this. Oh yeah, just do that, when clearly there's much more to it. And, I was starting a bit of a list there of some of the things you were referencing as to, yes, clearly the habits, but there's also the emotions that are attached to it. And I would actually, the third thing I wrote down was small things that, we would often think of habits as the regular everyday activities, but I'd kind of put like small things, like you mentioned, time with a family member, time with a loved one, as its own sort of separate category. That it's not, oh, I did the dishes today. It's like, no, I made it a point to, here is my schedule, and we carved out this time, and we're having this family day. Am I missing anything from that list? Because I tracked habits and emotions and small things. Are there any other essential elements that go into that, you'd say?
The elements inside the book, actually, I take those small elements, and I come from the corporate world. I did organizational psychology and ergonomics for a couple of years, and they have this Kaizen method, that you organize things, you put it in small things, and the Kaizen method is more related to how you can do small things every day to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. And when I'm talking about these habits and these emotions, and these are little pieces that will help you to do small things. I really like when people say, well, if you want to save the world or organize the world, first make your bed, organize your bed, organize your room. That's an expression that in this book I take those details to small pieces of what my clients need to do every day to achieve a goal, and I section those goals in an acronym that I call WEB, World Essence Bonding. So I have 5 areas in the world, 5 areas in the essence. In the essence, we have your physical, your mental, your emotional, your character, and your spiritual life. And in the world, we have the relationship with your wife, with your kids, with family and friends, with your finances and your career. And I explain to my clients, look, let's build first your essence. Because we receive this education in the past that you need to go to school, university, find an amazing job in a big corporation and retire. And those things are not working anymore.
Yeah.
They're not working anymore. So you need to find that is inside you, because in the past we were training to respond to the environment. Okay, respond to the school, respond to your fathers, respond to the corporate world. Nowadays we are living in an abundance area that we can take a look inside and say, okay, what I want to be, what I want to do in my life. And when you work in your essence, those pieces inside your essence, the habits, the emotions, the different things in your essence, you can present yourself to the world and say, this is what I am. And let me tell you, I have this very clear nowadays. But when we met each other, I recall that I wanted to call myself a different person. I introduced myself to you as an ace higher.
Yeah, I remember that.
You
Yeah.
remember that? Weird, no? In that time, I didn't have the English level that I have today. And I was super scared that if I wanted to work in an English environment, I need to have a different name than Ignacio Segovia because it was so hard for English speakers to pronounce it that I want to change it. I want to change it. I want to be a different person. And I realized in that time that no, I'm this guy, I'm Ignacio Segovia, and I need to build myself in the way that I recognize myself to present that to others. I introduced myself as a ace higher, and I felt weird. Like,
Yeah.
who is this guy?
I'm thinking, remembering back though, there might have been a story, and I'm going to have to leave out the last name for obvious purposes of where I'm about to go, which, if I'm remembering this interaction with you, I went back to a time where, there's a thing that's known in the professional acting world, which is that the different unions for stage, there's Actors Equity Association; for television and film, there's Screen Actors Guild. And this is the reason why he's Samuel L. Jackson or Michael J. Fox. It's because their name was already claimed. So here was this actor who came in one day and suddenly announced his first name was actually Leland, but he goes, "Hey guys, just so you know, the second L, it's now capitalized. No, wait, never mind. That's pretentious. Just keep it the way it was before." I'm like, glad I could help. He had the entire conversation in front of me. Yet it's when we catch that incongruence, and better to catch it early than to have to sort it out later, right?
Yeah, man. And
here's my question to you, and this might just be for my personal knowledge, because this is one of my favorite topics of things, like stepping into our real identity. What would you say helps to elevate what you do, your messaging, your congruence with what you do, even better now that you went through that journey of going, let me call myself this other thing? Nope, that doesn't line up. Back to who I am. Like, what benefit did you find from, straying off that path and then coming back?
Well, I had the opportunity to look on the words. I was looking words that helped me to connect with my clients. I was looking different expression and how I present myself to others. And I went back to my name and I found out what my name means. I never knew this. So I found that Ignacio is ignited, is fire.
Oh,
and
nice.
Segovia is the path to victory. So I'm the fire to guide you to your path of victory, man. So I find out that actually my name is perfect for the things that I'm doing today days. To bring that power to my clients, to bring that motivation to my clients, and take them from the point A they are right now to the victory point they want to be. So I found in my own name the source, the power, the energy to build this personality that actually I am. So I thought in my name, wow, look at this. Like, God is providing me with this amazing name. Why I will change it?
So I'm going to swoop in for a moment here, and let me just call it out. This is episode number 398 of this entire Work Smart Hypnosis podcast series. It's like 9 years in at this point. And not to call my shot, but get ready. I'm about to pull off the smoothest transition of a conversation ever. Because if you take the months of the year, July, August, September, October, November, that actually spells out Jason, which is perfect because, this is the first letters, which is perfect because a big thing that we're chatting about here is work-life balance and taking back control of our schedules and how we can ignite our schedules. I think we should stop the recording here. We can't top that. Never mind. Let's keep going. Now, let me ask you the contrary question first. Here's everything else other people would say about like work-life balance and how that, what that should mean, what that usually means. And I've got a feeling that this web concept may apply into it. What would you say most people are kind of missing the point on this topic that needs to be called out, needs to be, having a spotlight shine on it.
Well, this is a common expression in the corporate America. If you Google it, you will find more than 3 billion search on this expression.
Yeah.
And it's an expression that actually doesn't work. And why? Because, well, in the past, in the era that we are moving in right now, in the technology, is not matching as they match in the industrial age. In the industrial age, you had this difference between your house and the work environment. You left your house in the morning, you went to the work environment to push a button the whole day, and you moved back to your house. So you had this balance between the place that you create the money and the place where you expended the money. That was the life before. Nowadays, well, you can tell me how you are living your life, Jason. You have everything mixed. You work from home, you have your family there, you can take some time to go to Disney or not. So everything is mixed. Nowadays, we cannot separate that in two variables. We cannot separate, okay, work is here and life is here. Everything is mixed. And not only that, now we have multiple variables. As I mentioned it to you, I explained 5 variables in your essence, 5 variables in the world. And that's something that people need to analyze. People need to understand that there are different variables in their life, and they need to take control on those things: their physical, their mental, their emotional, their character, their spiritual life. There are important things on those topics to know yourself, to be clear what do you want in life, and to live a very happy life. Because when you read these studies that people that is dying or people that have a terminal illness, they when you ask them what you will do differently, they usually classify those things in 4 areas, or the four L's: live, love, learn, and leave a legacy. All these people will respond, I will love more, I will travel more, I will different things on those areas. This is an advanced step, because you in the areas that I classified, and I use the wheel of life to evaluate the different areas, so the client can evaluate their situation before and after. I always, as a coach, I want to evaluate the before and the after on my clients. So you can evaluate the 5 areas in your essence, the 5 areas in your world, and be clear where you are right now, in those levels between 0 and 10, and see how you can evolve in those areas to fulfill your life. And we work in each area in 4 levels that I learned those 4 levels from hypnosis. The first level is your presuppositions. What do you think about this stuff in your life? What do you think about let's do the physical area, for example. What are your presuppositions in your physical area? If your presuppositions are aligned with everything else, well, you will have a great success. After, we have the visual part. We see ourselves in the future, how I see myself in my physical life. The third level is your why you're doing this, your motivation, the emotion there. And the fourth level is your strategy, how you're moving from this point A to the point B in your physical aspect. So we analyze those 4 things, and for each level, I create an hypnosis process so that people can go into their reflexive process, they can go into trance, and they can find their presuppositions. Because many people come to our sessions and say, well, I want to be millionaire. And in their presupposition, they have this phrase, well, the money don't grow in trees. So if you have that presupposition, you will not be able to make money, because you have presuppositions that are against that. So let's fix first the presupposition. After, we go to your vision. After that, to your motivation, your emotions. And after that, we have a clear strategy, how you are building those habits. So going back to the beginning of the interview, I started with the habits, and I learned during all this process, studying psychology, psychoanalysis, hypnosis, cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, mindfulness, positive psychology. Now I understand the habits are the last level. You need first to create your presupposition, your vision, your purpose, your reasons, and after that is the strategy that will create your habits.
What I really appreciate about this is that looking at it from, and there's similar models. Like I was already about to draw a correlation to go, oh, kind of like in coaching, how often here's the wheel of life that you just referenced to go, oh, I modeled it off of this. Here's the Robert Dilts logical levels. And it's the easy explanation, the logical explanation as to where someone sets the plan to go, I'm going to do this, and then they don't.
Mhm.
It's not the action that's the issue. It's the knowledge of someone, and I know you step into a training role at times too. It's that knowledge of just knowledge alone isn't what people need. If I think it's a Tim Ferriss line, the guy behind 4 Hour Workweek, that if everything we needed came down to knowing the right strategies, we would all be billionaires with six-pack abs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. there's no shortage of knowledge as to the what we ought to be doing. Sometimes it's not necessarily your goal yet. Sometimes it's just a matter of what's everything that's on the inside that needs to be there for then, for someone to actually then apply that. I'm curious to ask, because I know you've put this into the book. You've also talked here about, bringing clients in and working with them. So like, how does this fit itself into practice of actually seeing clients in your world?
Well, the whole book is how you call it, the initial part and the funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and teaching people how to do this in their life. They can do it with the book, but if they want to do it faster, easily, they can call me. So we have in our website, we have different steps. The first step is, of course, buying the book. The second step is come to our group sessions. We are having group sessions that we'll be doing every month in every different topic. We will start in January presenting the whole book, and we'll start February with the physical area, March with the mental, and April with the emotional, and each area each month. So you can come to the group sessions and start working with me in group hypnosis and working in each area. So we'll have group hypnosis session to work in each area. But if you say, well, I need more privacy, I want to work this one-on-one with you, you will come and work with me in a program that I already have recorded. And you will be working this program in an hypno coaching package that I have, where the client see 10 hypnosis session with me and 30 coaching sessions, working with a platform video where they do the exercises. So the client can do this faster and in a quality way, because this will create a work, a life project where people can come and consult every time they want to take a decision in finances, in marriage, in everything. They can go back to their book and say, okay, what are my presuppositions? What is my vision in life? What I want to do here? And every year they can go back to this program and they can modify it slowly to their needs during their life. It's a life project that I'm setting up for people so they can be happy and achieve this well-being in their life.
I'd love to rewind back a little bit, which is what's the journey, what's the story as to how this specific subject became important to you?
Well, the first part is that I always wanted to help people to be their best, to find their God potential in their life. And that was the reason why I studied psychology. When I entered psychology, they changed this. They changed it to psychopathologies. You need to see all these wrong things in the mind of people. And when I graduate, I wanted to do differently. And that's the reason why I studied coaching, why I'm doing coaching and why I'm not doing psychology, because I want to be in the area. And I explained that in the book. I refer to this positive psychology concept of mean of 5 to +5, where the people that have psychopathologies or any kind of thickness are in that part of -4, -3. And if you are in the 0, it's clear that you don't have a depression, that you don't have anxiety, that you don't have a stress. But for positive psychology, nowadays they discovered that people that is in 0 neither have happiness Because in the past we thought, well, if you are not sad, you are happy.
Right. Yeah.
Nowadays we know for sure that people that doesn't have problems is not equal to I'm super happy. You're in the zero. You are in an aspect of your life where you, okay, I'm here, I'm okay, but nothing good is happening. And
Hmm.
I want to push people to the positive area, to the area where magic happens, to the area where they feel that they are functioning properly with their life, with their family, with their friends, and also they are making a change, an impact in this world, leaving a legacy. And that is my motivation. I want to move people to that area. And usually people come to our sessions to smoking cessation, for weight loss, and after they notice this hypnosis process is like magic, they want to do something else. And when I started doing hypnosis, I was fixed on the problems. Okay, you stop, you are not a smoker anymore. Now let's work on your weight. And after the weight, we work on their marriage. And I started looking for issues on people's life to fix them. And I say, why I'm looking for problems? If what we can create new things, we can create um, companies, we can create projects in your life, as you're doing with your influence program, that is not for people that is sick or in deep situations in their life. No, you want a business, you want to influence people, you want to talk differently. Okay, let's do this. Let's
Right. Yeah.
take you to the next level. And that is what moved me to write this book, because there is a lot of people suffering in the corporate world. They are suffering, man. There are levels of anxiety, depression, divorce that are super high in the corporate world. There is people that is dying by heart attacks and brain situations at their 40s. It's crazy what is happening in the corporate world. And with this COVID situation, all those things are changing. People want to find meaning in their life. People want to find meaning in the what they are doing in the work environment. And this book can be a guide for those people that are suffering in the corporate world.
I'm going to say something here from a place of love. There's an intro, which would be no, I love the conversation like this, which is that it becomes so passionately clear that you've poured yourself into this concept and tested it. And it's, one of the things that I will, oftentimes call out, where it's people who are just creating something for the sake of selling it to someone else versus you have put in the work, you have put in the workshopping of this. And, I'm like you said earlier, it's the pathway to do it, but the other pathway is to get some help and do it faster and easier, which at the end of the day, that is the conversation that we're always having with our clients. There are people who can overcome their problems, work towards their solution, and they do it on their own. And really what our service is providing is that of, again, helping them to get there faster and easier with a proven model to make that happen. What's the best way people can check out the book and see what you're up to?
Well, we have a website, work-life-balance-doesn't-work.com. Also, you can find the book in any platform, Amazon especially. And you can find the Work-Life Balance Doesn't Work there by Ignacio Segovia. Also, you can go to our website, hypnosishc.com, where we have our services. You can find me in Instagram in Ignacio Segovia one, Ignacio Segovia 1.
There we go. And I'll put links, of course, to everything in the show notes over at worksmarthypnosis.com. I am so happy we got to record this for the reason of, again, this work-life balance mindset and how, the term was invented at a time when it meant something different, and the world has clearly gone in some other directions ever since. And I love the systemization of this because, well, if anything ever gets off track, if we're losing that balance, it's that time to look at these other core elements and go, okay, what is it that I need to dial back to? What is it I can get some foundations there within? Before we wrap this up, any final thoughts for the listeners out there?
Well, guys, I love in a passionate way this book. I love all the studies that I did, and the main thing that I love is hypnosis. I know that many of you guys already know about hypnosis. Some of you guys maybe not. I invite you guys to learn a little bit more and to grow this amazing community, because we are doing something amazing here. We are bringing a technology to the people that are helping them to fix their life and to achieve happiness in a very, very fast way. The return on the investment in the hypnosis is humongous. From a practitioner that I already did cognitive behavioral therapy, psychoanalysis, many, many techniques on psychology. I love hypnosis for certain areas. And those areas, if you are working in those areas like habits, like coaching, like stopping phobias, anxiety, those type of things are amazing. And I will invite you to study hypnosis, to follow what Richard Nongar and Jason Linett are doing in this community, and to connect with me if you have any question about this book. Thank you very much for the invitation, Jason. It was a pleasure, and I'm very happy for this time with you.
Jason Linett here once again, and as always, thank you so much for interacting with this program, leaving your reviews on the various podcasting players, and yes, my favorite part of this, keeping the conversation going in the industry, using these episodes as a reference point, as well as opening up a relationship with the people who have come on here as a guest. Stay tuned, because we are 2 weeks away from episode number 400 coming your way. I think it was around episode 310 that Scott Sandlin said to me, "Oh, you're serious about this?" Well, yeah. Coming up soon, episode number 400 is coming your way. You can see exactly how to connect with Ignacio over on worksmarthypnosis.com. And again, let's make 2023 frickin' awesome. Instead of guessing, instead of reinventing the wheel, model what works, get the blueprint behind a thriving hypnotic practice, no matter the economy, inside of hypnoticbusinesssystems.com. Make sure you watch the tour at the top of the page, and then I'll see you on the inside.
Thanks for listening to the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast at worksmarthypnosis.com.